This is exactly what the Clippers needed. And this is what the Clippers fans needed to hear. The Clippers fans deserve reassurance. They deserve to know what the plan is. They deserve to know exactly what the organization is planning going forward. They deserve to know exactly what type of moves, the team is going to make. And this is exactly what Clippers fans need to hear. Was the president of basketball operations for the Clippers and Lawrence Frank saying, "It is our duty. We want to make it to where we can bring back Reggie Jackson, of course, Kawhi Leonard, and Nicholas Batum." I've said before, those type players right there, of course, Kawhi Leonard, but the other two, and Nicholas Batum and Reggie Jackson, is vital to their championship hopes, unless they can, find a way to replace those type players with somebody of their caliber. And I've said before, it's hard replacing players who has proven themselves on a team, who's proven themselves to be good locker room guys, who's proven themselves in the playoffs where it was do or die, go home, and they came through a lot of times. They just couldn't overcome the fact they didn't have their best player. But that's okay. Most teams can't do that. When you have a best player and you're going against a team that has their best players, you're probably going to lose that because you don't have all your pieces, and we're okay with that. But at least try to bring back the pieces that really helped the Clippers get to where they got to as far as they did. And it was the Nicholas Batums, and it was the players like, Reggie Jackson, Nicholas Batum, players like that. Bring those players back if possible, because that's what the Clippers fans need to hear. They need reassurance in regards to the players that played the best and the players that went out there and proved more than what people thought of them as. A lot of people didn't look at Reggie Jackson as that type of player. They looked at him as a really good player who can come out there and, score points, but they didn't think his points were ever meaningful or would be meaningful in a playoff game where he has to, show his true talent and play at a high level to help his team win. Nobody thought Reggie Jackson had that in him until these playoffs. Nobody thought Nicholas Batum was any good anymore. A lot of people thought after Nicholas Batum had that injury and he barely played the last several years, they thought his career was over with until he came to this team. And this is what I'm saying. You have players on this team who has a meaningful background, who came from situations where they didn't think they'd ever play again or play at a high level. And you as the Clippers organization gave them an opportunity to play at a high level for your team on a national stage. And they played really well. For the most part, they delivered. Reggie Jackson delivered. Reggie Jackson played unbelievable these playoffs from round after round. He was one of their superheroes. I mean, that's just the way it was. I mean, that's probably the best way to look at it. Like, Kawhi Leonard is Superman. I'll say Paul George is like Spider-Man, and Reggie Jackson was the Black Panther. I mean, if you want to look at it from that perspective, all of them played like superheroes in the playoffs, and Reggie Jackson really took his spot and solidified his spot by playing the way he did, and which was amazing in the playoffs. Then you add Nicholas Batum. Nicholas Batum is probably like, if he was a superhero, I'd say he's like the Green Lantern or something like that. I mean, he's just, I don't know. He's just a gadget player. He's so versatile. He can do different things, and he can affect the game in different ways. And his length, his defense, and his knockdown shooting is definitely what a playoff team needs to get to that next level. You see what I'm saying? And that's what, that's what he provides. And we're definitely okay with that. And that's what the Clippers need to look at in regards to when they're making their decisions and who they need to keep and who they need to let go or who they can trade for. I said a couple of videos ago, there's just certain players you just don't trade for. There's just certain players that you keep if you want to win a championship. It's just the way it is. And those players like that, what we saw in the playoffs, it's destined. It's vitally important you keep players like that unless, like I said, you can replace them with a player of their caliber or better. That's the only way. But I wouldn't trade them just for anybody, just to fill up, a roster, just to let them go, just to save a couple of dollars. I wouldn't do that. I would just spend extra money to keep those players and do what you got to do. And like I said, hearing Lawrence Frank, which is the president of basketball operations for the Clippers, come out and say that, and, things like that. And you can actually go on Google and read it yourself. That's definitely reassuring for Clippers fans. And just hearing that is one thing, but we also know we got to see the evidence. So hearing it is good, I will say that, but we got to see you actually live up to that. We got to actually see you bring those players back. We got to actually see you, as the president of operations, make sure Reggie and Nicholas Batum come back with Kawhi Leonard and the rest of the crew, and maybe add a couple pieces if you can. We got to see it. Talking it is one thing. Seeing is believing. So my point is, I'm glad he said it. I'm glad that he put that notion out there, because that's exactly what Clippers fans needed to hear. But there's other moves to be made in this offseason that you can make to help the team better. And like I said, but those vital type players like that, it's good to keep those. And I'm glad the Clippers have that in mind, to keep those type players, because that's what's going to help them, be a winning organization, or, a winning organization going forward for years to come. And hopefully Kawhi Leonard comes back and resigns to the team. Of course, that's number one. And we just kind of go from there and see, what happens with the team. But hey, leave any comments in the comment section. Let me know what you think about what you're hearing in regards to them bringing those players back. Do you think those players are vitally important for us to win a championship, or can they be replaced? Let me know what you think in the comment section. And, we can always talk about it, engage as we always do. And hey, Cali out.